My dad and I visited Sloss Furnace for a sightseeing tour. I had my camera for pictures and videos. I've recently become interested in the paranormal after I watched many Ghost Adventures episodes. I saw where they had visited Sloss, and I wanted to go as well, mostly for sightseeing, but also for a small investigation. When I first arrived, I knew about the reportedly haunting blowing engine room. However, I wasn't for sure exactly how to get inside of it, because all except one door was locked, which I found out a little later on. I entered the blowing engine room and just took some pictures first and asked my dad if he would leave me there for a few minutes to do a quick video and EVP session. He said sure, and he left the building. I started my video by walking down the side of the big wheels and back through around the entire building, so I decided to make one more quick pass through the building, and I was almost done with my second pass when I heard some pipes clanging. I said to myself, okay, I'll stay a few minutes later. I rounded the corner and I looked in the corner of one of the blowing engine wheels, and I saw a man with blue jeans and overalls and work boots on. I did some history on the uniform. It appears this is the work uniform for an old Sloss worker. We made eye contact and he looked like he was scared, overworked, and tired. I turned to look at a noise on my opposite side and looked back. He was gone. I felt his presence with me the rest of the time in the blowing engine room. I was once a skeptic, but me and my friends are going back very soon to do a full investigation. Thanks for reading. Comments appreciated. Strange events at Sloss Furnaces. Sloss Furnaces is located in Birmingham, Alabama. It produced iron for nearly 90 years and is now a natural historic landmark. It is a very awesome place to visit, and I encourage anyone interested in history to take a tour. My boyfriend and I recently visited there for the 2008 Stoking the Fire Festival. We decided to walk around the place because we think it's absolutely beautiful and we love anything to do with history. This was not our first time there. We had been there before and had walked through every part of it with no paranormal activity. He and I are very skeptical when it comes to ghosts. Anytime we experience something strange, we just try to come up with a logical explanation for it. We just don't see how it's possible for ghosts to exist. That day, we changed our minds. We were hanging out in the boiler room around dusk. It was just the two of us. We were just sitting there on the steps talking, very calm and relaxed. He got up and started walking to the left and told me to come with him to look around. We started walking in that direction and heard a very loud scuffling noise right behind us. It was so loud that we both turned around to look at the same time. "Was that you?" he asked. I told him no. We looked around the entire room thinking someone was just trying to scare us. There was no one in the entire boiler room. Just then, he got a phone call. It was his sister. "Why did you just call me? Are you okay?" she asked. He explained that he did not even call her. "Yes, you did. It sounded like you had the phone really close to your mouth and you were mumbling. Every time I asked you a question, you would respond, but I could never make out what you were saying. I thought you were playing a joke on me." She verified his cell number, and sure enough, the call came through the phone. He even looked at his call history, and it showed him making the call and the conversation lasting about 3 minutes. The weird thing was, I had been with him the entire time, and the phone had been in his pocket. Also, he had just gotten her cell phone activated that day. He didn't even have her number in his phone. If he actually called her, he would have had to dial out the entire number, and furthermore, he didn't even know what her number was yet. Strangely, these two incidents happened at the same time. We have not been able to come up with an explanation for either one of them. Sloss Furnace Visit. Hi, my name is Ashley, and I currently live in Birmingham, Alabama. There is an old steel mill located downtown called the Sloss Furnace. It's haunted. I visited Sloss Furnace with two of my friends. The first time we went, it was very interesting to see how things worked in the 1800s. The factory was built in 1882 and was closed because of pollution and the cost of steel went down in 1971. We took photos and walked around twice, but one of the rooms, called the blowing engine room, had some kind of attraction to it. Story has it that this is where the majority of the men worked there and also where they died. We heard banging noises and footsteps. I took a photo where one of my friends was standing by an old wheel, where one of the men supposedly got snagged by the wheel, which was moving very fast, and was crushed. In about a few seconds, there would be less of his body. I was scared to death. The picture was perfect. I wasn't moving. He wasn't either. But when we examined the photo, his body was see-through, and his head was gone. We were a bit scared that night when we went home. My second visit was with one of my same friends, but I brought along my best friend this time. He was very skeptical about going to Sloss because his exact words were, "Respect the things of the past," but he ended up going with us anyway. The time was kind of unusual because the museum schedule stated that it was open Tuesday through Friday, 10 o'clock through 4 p.m., but we went on a Monday and no one told us that we had to leave. So as soon as we got beside the old machines outside, both of my friends felt like we were being watched. I said that they were just a little uneasy about the visit. I really wasn't bothered because I knew what to expect. We were by the biggest furnace there was, and we were reading about the different machines and how they worked, and all of a sudden, I spotted a white shadowy figure peeking from behind a pole, and as soon as I turned my head, it was gone. After that, we went into the tunnel, and my best friend stated that he saw a dark, shadowy figure standing next to my other friend. He didn't tell us this until we left. We went inside the blowing engine room, which is supposedly the most haunted in the factory, and began to walk around. I can say as soon as you get inside the room, you feel very lightheaded, nauseated, weak, and full of fear. I was telling the different stories from which I heard about the people who died in that room. As we began to stroll around the room, we stopped, and out of nowhere, we heard something go, shh. When I say we ran like we've never ran before, I dropped my watch and I went back to get it. I guess I wasn't that afraid enough to the point where I could go back and get my watch, but that was a very interesting encounter. I will definitely go back, but not alone. Of course not. Why did we experience paranormal activity on our second visit and not on our first? Was it because my best friend was with us at the time and so full of fear? Because ghosts know when you're afraid and they feed off of your fear. I don't know, but it's worth investigating further and delving into the nature that is the paranormal activity that occurs in Sloss Furnace. Thanks for reading.